It's a very exciting time of year. I get to look forward to all the amazing shows I'm going to see next year, get to start thinking about that because performing arts organizations are announcing their new seasons and putting subscriptions on sale. For our conversation today, we're also thinking about sort of the counterpart of this at museums. So memberships, which may be less tied to a specific time of year, but a lot of the same concepts and trends still apply when it comes to digital campaigns for those. So for these huge subscription or membership campaigns, you're already reaching out to your existing subscriber base, your existing members in a number of ways, via email, maybe direct mail, maybe at live events. But the question is, does digital have a role to play in these initiatives? So to answer this, we took a look at data from over 200 subscriptions, season announce, and membership campaigns from both performing arts organizations and museums.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited to dig into this data. So let's start by taking a look at some year-over-year performance. And this is going to be specifically for performing arts, and then we'll do museums in a second.
Exactly. Yeah. So taking a look at 2025 versus 2024, performing arts organizations saw strong gains across all campaign types, but subscription campaigns kind of outpaced the rest. They increased spend across the board, but subscription campaign spend increased more. And the spend was also more efficient. So cost per acquisition decreased pretty sharply, we can see in subscription campaigns, more so than in non-subscription campaigns. And more spend at lower costs means more purchases. So revenue, purchases, and ROI all increased across the board, but especially dramatically in subs campaigns. So year over year, basically, we saw increased investment in subscription campaigns that really paid off in higher returns.
Amazing. Okay, so this is looking like good news for performing arts organizations. I'm curious how things are looking as we are heading into the early days of 2026.
Yes, it is still early, but we took a look at data from January and February for some initial signals. So far, subscription campaign spend for that period is slightly down compared to the same time last year, but we are also seeing lower costs, so lower CPM, CPC, and CPA. So there is some opportunity there. But what's interesting is where we're seeing the performance gains and where we're not. Top of funnel metrics are really strong so far. Key page view rates are way up year over year, but purchase rates so far are actually down a little bit. This is probably related to a shift in strategy. We're seeing some budget shifts from bottom to more top of funnel audiences, and we can dig more into those audience differences a little later.
Yeah, for sure. Again, we're still early days of 2026, but I was just curious about kind of what we were seeing to start. Amazing. Okay, so now that we've looked at performing arts organizations, I want to talk a little bit about the museum counterpart of this, which is, of course, membership campaigns. So I'm curious, how are museum membership campaigns looking year over year?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, museums have it a little tougher. In general, they don't have that same short burst of a subscription season. They're not announcing an entire season of shiny new programming all at once. They don't have that built-in urgency of like a subscription deadline. They have to work to drive membership all year long. And the data suggests that this is harder. So on average, numbers for museum membership campaigns are a bit lower than for performing arts subscription campaigns. And year over year, we also saw less growth in those museum membership campaigns. So from 2024 to 2025, museums did increase spend, but more of that increase went towards campaigns promoting specific exhibit, so those non-membership campaigns. Membership was a little bit less of an investment priority. And cost per click decreased year over year, cost per acquisition increased, but more modestly for membership campaigns. Purchases did increase in membership campaigns more so than in non-membership campaigns, but that increase is still much more modest than what we're seeing for our friends at performing arts organizations.
Okay. And what about heading into 2026? Same question.
In the first 2 months of 2026, we see museums pulling back on membership spend a little bit compared to 2025, but spending more on other campaign types. The good news is, just like for performing arts organizations, costs are decreasing for these membership campaigns for museums, but purchase rates and key page view rates are both lower for membership campaigns than they were this time last year. So it's a little cheaper to reach audiences this year, but converting that interest into action is proving a little bit challenging.
Yeah. Interesting. So what I'm taking from this a little bit is that if you're a museum out there and you are watching and you're feeling like maybe your membership campaigns are not performing as well as they did last year, you are certainly not alone. And I also want to note that while this data is certainly like interesting to look at, and I think it can be helpful for comparison's sake, it doesn't really dig into sort of the why behind some of these shifts, right? Every organization is different. There are many factors at play here, from your programming to your pricing to the economy at large. I'm not even going to get into all of the different variables that can impact sales metrics there. So just take all of this with a grain of salt and just know, of course, that all hope is not lost. And we certainly, have some ideas to try to help you succeed in that.
We do.